So I was reading the comment section of this YouTube video not too long ago, and there were arguments going on regarding the true origin story of punk rock as we know, whether it's a New York City-based phenomenon initially, or whether it really comes into its own as a London-based phenomenon. Well, there was one comment there arguing not necessarily New York, but certainly American. And no, it's not going back to Detroit with the Stooges and the MC5, it's referring to Rocket from the Tombs. The members of Rockets from the Tombs are recording demos, mind you, at least playing, I don't know how much they recorded actually, as early as 74, based in Cleveland, and their members split to form the Dead Boys, pretty seminal influential punk act, who played at CBGB's and the like. The other members formed Pere Ubu, a band which very often is confused as a British act by those who are really into the post-punk world, particularly those of us from Australia who aren't from either country, you know, the UK or the US. And Pere Ubu's, the album art of the first three, they seem like they're these UK post-punk acts. We don't necessarily think of this sort of album art as belonging to American acts, really, unless you're Tuxedo Moon, which sound more like a European act anyway, really. Or Chrome, perhaps, though Chrome always do sound like a distinctly American sort of cool garage act to me, a bit like one of those cool duos like Suicide or Silver Apples, you know. Maybe you don't. You ought to. Not because it would make you a better person, just it would make life more pleasurable, I suppose, if you did, perhaps. Let's just read out loud about Pere Ubu. This video won't go very long. Brief podcast, you know, just something to do while you're sipping coffee or whatever you like to sip. Pere Ubu is an American rock group formed in Cleveland, Ohio in 1975. The band had a variety of long-term and recurring band members, with singer David Thomas being the only member staying throughout the band's lifetime. They released their debut album, The Modern Dance, in 1978, and followed with several more LPs before disbanding in 1982. Thomas reformed the group in 1987, continuing to record and tour. Describing their sound as avant-garage, Pere Ubu's work drew inspiration from sources such as music, concrete, 60s rock, performance art, and the industrial environments of the American Midwest. While the band achieved little commercial success, they have exerted a wide influence on subsequent underground music. Rocket from the Tombs was a Cleveland-based group that eventually fragmented. Some members formed the Dead Boys, the others the Sources, while David Thomas and guitarist Peter Loeffner, or whichever, joined with guitarist Tom Herman, bass guitarist Tim Wright, drummer Scott Krause, and synthesist Alan Ravenstein to form Pere Ubu in 1975. At the time the band formed, Herman, Krause, and Ravenstein lived in a house owned by Ravenstein. The group's name is a reference to Ubu Roy, an avant-garde play by French writer Alfred Jarry. Pere Ubu's debut single, their first 4 records were singles on their own Hairpen label, was 30 Seconds Over Tokyo, inspired by the Doolittle Raid and named after a film depicting the raid, backed with Heart of Darkness, followed by Final Solution in 1976. One review noted that 30 Seconds was clearly the work of a garage band, yet its arty dissonance and weird experimentalism was startlingly unique. Loeffner left the group after their first 2 singles and died soon afterwards of acute pancreatic failure. Damn. Streetwaves, backed with My Dark Ages, I Don't Get Around, was their 3rd single, and after their 4th single, The Modern Dance, backed with Heaven, which was pressed in very small quantities and contained a completely different mix of modern dance from the album version, Pere Ubu signed to Blank Records, a short-lived imprint of Mercury Records. Tony Maimone signed on as bassist after Tim Wright left to join DNA. Their debut album, The Modern Dance, 1978, sold poorly, but has proven influential. I reckon some UK acts may have heard that. That's coming out the same year as Magazine's Real Life and as Susie and the Banshees to Scream, Wires, Chairs Missing. What an important year in the history of that post-punk paradigm indeed, yes. Musicians of many types, including progressive rock, punk rock, post-punk, and new wave, were influenced by the dark, abstract record. With the song Sentimental Journey, the debut also introduced the practice of reappropriating titles from well-known popular songs. Pere Ubu's Sentimental Journey has no obvious relation to the Doris Day hit song of the same name. Drinking Wine's Spotty has no apparent connection to the Styx McGee song later revived by Jerry Lee Lewis. I'm too young to know what this stuff is, frankly. This practice has continued through 2006's Why I Hate Women, which is a song called Blue Velvet, Again, no relation to the 1963 hit song by Bobby Vinton. Tony Bennett also sang that song. Why does this need to be sung in that campy melody? Because of David Lynch. While most synthesizer players tended to play the instrument as if they would a piano or organ, Ravenstein generally opted instead to make sounds that were reminiscent of spooky sound effects from 1950 science fiction films, or perhaps electronic music and musique concrete. One critic writes that Ravenstein may be one of the all-time great synth players, and his playing has been called utterly original. Pere Ubu's second and third albums, Dub Housing and New Picnic Time, followed with much the same reaction. The group briefly disbanded in 1979 but reformed soon afterwards, with Herman replaced by Mayor Thompson of Red Crayola. Sounds like a great idea, but here's the thing. You know how there's people who have something of an opposition to the idea of experimental music as kind of a loose genre, because they think, oh, there's just no rules. Like, after a while, like, how is it even enjoyable? How is it even good? How is it not just Emperor's New Clothes nonsense? Well, sometimes it is. It's The Art of Walking. It's the fourth Pere Ubu album, unfortunately. I wish... brings me no joy in saying that, but like, oh man, like that's a slog. That's a slog. It's a slog. Red Crayola's first album is one of the most genius recordings of the 1960s, but I have to admit, and that's out there, like that's going to throw most people off and say, no, this is too nonsense. This is not for me. The rest of Red Crayola is like... just I've tried. No, I need to try more. Like, there's so much of it. Like, who knows? Like, someone tell me why I'm a moron in the comments. Or better yet, just turn off the video, close the webpage, and just be like, oh, I'm gonna go to some other webpage or some other place in the world and just talk about what a fool this person was. This is just very, very impressive. Very great argument. You know what? I'm just gonna say this. This is a thing you probably don't know. If you don't share your disagreement with me, it means you're incorrect. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that, honestly. Now I'm going crazy. Maybe I'll listen to more Pere Ubu, pick up my spirits. Oh wait, I think that is why I'm going crazy. Too much Pere Ubu. Oh, no more Pere Ubu. Oh, unless you haven't listened to Pere Ubu before, then it's probably pretty safe for a little while. Well, comment below how your reaction to Pere Ubu. I'll let you know if you're still sane or not. You feel free to comment as many times as you like. I'll let you know if you're still sane or not. And if you're thinking, like, but aren't you crazy? It takes one to know one. Thanks again, my friends. Appreciate it immensely.